Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel, and I just got home from watching Shazam! Fury of the Gods and thought I'd give you my opinion. So the first 5 to 7 minutes of this video is going to be my non-spoiler review, and then the rest of the video is basically going to be my spoiler review. So without spoiling anything, my overall opinion of this movie is it's a fun movie, but it's not a good movie. I am a big DC fan, and I love seeing really high quality DC movies. So looking at it from a DC fan standpoint, I didn't really enjoy this movie. The writing wasn't good, and there were a lot of extremely cringy spots in the movie. The movie was seemingly sponsored by like 5 different companies. And I think the best way to explain it is it's almost like the movie had the plot of a Shazam video game. What I mean by that is, the movie from basically start to finish is like if you took video game writers of like an okay video game and then put them into the filmmaking business and had them write a film. The villains in this movie are played by Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren. They play the daughters of Atlas, Hespera and Calypso. And as far as villains go, I feel like they served their purpose. They were villains for the movie. They were the antagonists of the movie. I definitely feel like Lucy Liu's character, Calypso, definitely gave off a lot more villainous vibes, and I'll explain that later in the spoiler section, because if I continue, I'll kind of go into spoiler territory. They had their basic villain wants and missions. They had to collect item number 1 so that they had their powers to collect item number 2, and then item number 2 was going to help them take over the world, which is technically item number 3. It was a very basic sequel superhero, or just sequel movie in general, movie plot. The main protagonist was dealing with some emotional strain based off of something that was happening in his or her life at the time. The team of people that was established in the first movie is starting to draw apart and want to be their own person outside of the team formed in the first movie, and the protagonist has to learn to deal with that. Then there's this new struggle from an antagonist, or antagonists in this case, that challenges the protagonist's knowledge and everything they know about life in general, basically. And they have to overcome that by either losing their powers for a moment of time or struggling with the fact that they have those powers and don't feel like they deserve them. In the end, of course, they will come out on top because that's what heroes do. And that was basically the plot of this movie. Shazam had to fight Calypso and Hespera because they were trying to take over the world. And his friends and family in the first movie, which if you've seen the first movie, you know this, and if you've seen the trailers, you know this too, but if you're like completely not into the Shazam stuff, number 1, I don't know why you're watching this video, and number 2, this is gonna spoil, but it's not really spoiling this movie, so I guess it's okay.
Don't get spoiled.
In the first movie, Shazam gave all of his family the powers of Shazam. It's not really a super bad spoiler. It's not like, oh my gosh, but it's technically a spoiler, so I apologize. But Zachary Levi's Shazam is struggling with the fact that his family, while yes, are part of the team Shazam, are also their own person and have their own agendas and their own lives and all of that. There's an epic fight scene, and like, I think there's 3 fight scenes, like super epic fight scenes in this movie. There's a love interest, there's a struggle. It has all of the main points a movie needs. And like I said, it's a fun movie. I enjoyed the movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I know it's getting like, it's worse than Morbius, this is such a terrible movie treatment. But it's not a bad movie. It's a fun movie. It's campy. It's not really meant to be the next Avengers Endgame, but it's still a fun movie. If I were to rate this movie, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10 or a 6.5. Because I enjoyed the movie, I would not watch it again unless I was going through the DCEU in chronological order. But it's not a movie I would choose to watch a second time. It's not really a movie that I feel is super epic. It's a good movie, but not really a good superhero movie. It's basically a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, but about Shazam. That's basically what it is. It's very video game-esque. The plot, the final battle, all of it. Now, going into spoiler territory, the first thing I'm going to say is the Daughters of Atlas, if anybody knows, there's 3 of them. There's Calypso, there's Hespera, and there's Anthea. Anthea falls in love with Jack Dylan Grazer's character, which in the movie he calls himself Captain Everypower. She falls in love with him basically automatically, even though she's 6,000 years old and he's like 17. But it's whatever. I mean, it's part of the movie, I guess. But because of that, she's not really part of the villains. And actually, the only true villain is probably Lucy Liu's character, Calypso. Because Rachel Zegler's character, Anthea, and Helen Mirren's character, Hespera, are both trying to collect the main object of the movie, the seed, basically the life seed, but they call it the seed. It's basically this apple that's covered in like char until you just kind of blow on it. And then it turns into this golden apple, and then if you plant it, it turns into the life tree. But that's like the main thing that they're trying to collect next to the sorcerer's staff, the magic staff, what's it called? It's literally called the magic staff. That's really funny. Basically, the magic staff is the first item that they collect in the movie. It gives them their powers back because Shazam, the wizard Shazam, not the Billy Batson Shazam, played by Digimon Huansu, I probably did that terribly. The wizard Shazam used the staff to lock them in this like realm so that they didn't get out because they're bad guys. But in the first movie, Shazam Billy Batson breaks the staff, making the spell that was locking them in the little universe portal thing that that was acting as their jail cell. It basically broke that barrier so they could go back to Earth. Anyway, Helen Mirren's character, Hespera, and Rachel Zegler's Anthea are good and want to plant the seed in their world, restoring the beauty of their world. But Lucy Liu's Calypso character goes full villain arc and is like, no, they tortured us, so we must do it to their world too. So then Calypso goes mental and basically plants the life tree in this football stadium, and then Shazam has to get it out, which he does by the end of the movie, because, you know, superhero movie. Shazam is struggling because he knows that he turns 18 in a little bit, and that's going to actually push him out of the foster system. He's not going to be allowed to be in the foster system anymore, and is worried that his parents, Marta Millins' character, Rosa Vasquez, said it wrong again, and Cooper Andrews' character, Victor Vasquez. I'm such a bad pronunciation person with last names and first names. Like, I'm as bad as like a teacher. Shazam is worried that they're gonna kick him out, but they're not, because they love him like a son, because he technically is their son. It's this most beautiful moment. But he's also struggling with the fact that he doesn't feel like he is worthy of the Shazam powers. So he's trying to like keep everything together, which he literally says in the movie.
Now everyone's kind of like doing their own thing, and I'm the only one trying to keep it together.
You understand I'm a pediatrician, right?
But he's trying to keep the family together, the siblings and everybody, by being the superheroes. And they do great, but then they fail. Like, they save people, but they collapsed the Franklin Bridge, Benjamin Franklin Bridge. But they save everybody on the Benjamin Franklin Bridge, but then the Benjamin Franklin Bridge falls, so there's that. But anyway, he's trying to keep the super team together. But Jack Dylan Grazer / Adam Brody's character, Captain Everypower, is going on his own, being his own superhero because he feels like he can do it better by himself, and then ends up falling in love with Rachel Zegler's character, Anthea, and they have this whole love interest thing. I already said that in the beginning. But because of that, I think that's why Anthea is a good character, like a good guy in this film, is because she falls in love with Captain Everypower like in the first 10 minutes of the movie. But Wizard Shazam is locked in this cage because he died in the first movie but actually went to a cage, and then he's how the bad guys learn about Shazam, is they torture him. Calypso's superpower is she can whisper into your ear and then make you do basically whatever. So she whispers in his ear all creepy and she's like, tell me where Shazam is, or tell me where the champion is, because they don't know who the champion is yet in this part of the movie. But then they find the champion, aka Shazam, and try to beat him up. That's when the whole one in the trailer was like,
I've seen all of the Fast and the Furious movies, lady. It's all about family. Family!
but that's the first main battle of the movie. And then basically what happens is a fight, and then Hovan Armand's character, Piaggio Penna, loses his superpowers. Because if they shoot you with the magic staff, you lose your superpowers. So Jack Dylan Grazer's character, Captain Everypower, already lost his superpowers because he was on a date with Rachel Zegler's character, and then the two other bad sisters showed up and then captured him and then put a dome over the city and then stole his powers. And the dome is a big thing in the end of the movie. It's basically how Shazam wins. But because Shazam and company beats Hespera and Calypso, they take Hespera back to their lair, which is actually where the seed is, which is, like I said, the main thing, the thing that the tree just grows out of. And then she steals the seed and uses one of these magic doors. There's this room full of doors that go to different dimensions. Ross Butler / Ian Chen's character had been putting sticky notes on the doors to tell you whether it's safe or not to go in. But there's a door in that labyrinth that basically goes to the dimension where the Daughters of Atlas kind of hang out. So Hespera's character goes back, and at this point in the movie, Rachel Zegler's Anthea character helps Jack Dylan's character and Shazam Wizard's character to escape, because her power is basically what Ancient One does in the first Doctor Strange movie, where she like shifts everything. That's basically her superpower. And then Helen Mirren's character, Hespera's superpower is basically witchcraft. She mumbles some mumbo jumbo and then something happens. That's how the dome is created. Wizard Shazam and Captain No Power, which is what I'm gonna call him when he's Jack Dylan Grazer and not Adam Brody. They're running around trying to find their way out, and then they almost do, and then see the Daughters of Atlas about to use the seed, and they're contemplating whether or not to actually use the seed the way they wanted in the first place, or whether to use it on Earth, which is where Calypso's character becomes the main antagonist, and Hespera and Anthea become less of an antagonist and more of a protagonist, because now they're trying to save the day instead of the original thing. So Captain No Power and Wizard Shazam are trying to steal the seed while the sisters are arguing, and there's this funny quip where Wizard Shazam's knees creak whenever he moves, so Jack Dylan Grazer has to do it instead, but he has crutches, so he's like clumsy and stuff. So he steals the thing successfully. He steals the seed successfully and then accidentally knocks something down, so they see him. But Shazam and company already went through the door and actually found a way to get them. So Shazam grabs the seed and then everybody tries to run. Then the dragon, there's this big dragon, it's a dragon in the trailer, but this dragon's basically, you get thrown into the pit if you do something that they don't like, the Alice daughters. And the dragon is basically the Rancor of the Shazam movie. But it's made of wood. It's this dragon made of wood. They make it seem like that's gonna be a big plot point, but it's really not. It's just kind of funny that Shazam's like, ha, it's made of wood. That's not very good strategically and structurally. I don't know what that was with my chin. That was like full Jim Carrey. But basically the dragon starts to chase Shazam and company, and then they go back to Earth, and Calypso kills Hespera with the dragon and then starts to take over Earth by planting the seed into the football stadium. And then Raid Shadow Legend characters, Cyclopses, they're these cool like man-bat looking things. They all look like Raid Shadow Legends characters, it's ridiculous. But they start popping out of these eggs, and then the Shazam and company has to kill them all. But basically everybody has lost their powers except for Shazam in this part of the movie. Everyone's gotten hit by the laser from the magic staff that takes away your superpowers, so now Shazam is literally the only Shazam left. So while he's fighting Calypso, everyone else is trying to fight these Raid Shadow Legend characters. And Rachel Zegler's Anthea character also lost her superpowers, so now she's no longer a god and now she's a mortal. which I thought was gonna be this big thing. She was gonna be like, since I'm immortal, now I'm technically the same age as you, Mr. Captain No Power, so we can be boyfriend and girlfriend without it being awkward, because now I'm gonna outlive you. Which is something I noticed. Because she's immortal, because she's a god, if she falls in love, which she does, but if they marry and have children, she's going to be the same age as her kids at one point. Unless she becomes ungodded again. I don't know. So Shazam is off fighting Calypso, and he told his parents that he's Shazam and that everyone is a Shazam because they actually didn't know. But now everybody that's not Zachary Levi's Shazam is trying to fight these Raid Shadow Legend characters. And Wizard Shazam mentions that the only thing they fear is unicorns. And Faith Herman's character, Darla Dudley, loves unicorns. They established that in the beginning of the movie. And she's been carrying around Skittles for the movie, I don't know why. But basically, there are only two things that unicorns like in Shazam verse, which is darkness and creepiness, which is like one thing. And then ambrosia, which is sweets, basically sugar, sweets, that kind of thing, which is where the Skittles come in, which is why I said this Shazam movie is basically sponsored by like 20 things, even though it's only really 2, because there's the Raid Shadow Legends characters, which I have zero doubt in my mind that they're based off of the Raid Shadow Legend characters. It's absolutely insane. And number 2 is Skittles. So anyway, Faith Herman's character shows the creepy black unicorns. They look exactly like the bad nightmare horses from Rise of the Guardians, this movie. They look exactly like that, but unicornified. She feeds the unicorn Skittles, and then the unicorn just decides it likes her. So then she goes, taste the rainbow. And it's like this super cringy moment. It was, So now they're riding unicorns, beating up all the Raid Shadow Legend characters while Shazam is fighting Calypso. So then everybody's fighting everybody, and then Shazam finds Hespera, Helen Mirren's character, and brings her back to life using his lightning powers because nothing else is working. And then he asks her if she can make the force field smaller so it's just in the area of the football stadium. Because earlier in the movie they learned that the magic staff is basically like a battery that just absorbs energy.
The staff is absorbing it all. Like a battery.
So Shazam's plan is to fight Calypso and the dragon until the battery magic staff is about to overload, and then he's gonna say Shazam, making the super lightning bolt hit the staff and then explode everything, therefore killing Calypso, the dragon, the tree of life, and putting the seed back into the golden apple so they can plant it in the world that it was intended to be planted into. That's his plan. They have this whole dramatic thing, and then he dies. And everybody's really sad because he's dead, you know. And then he's dead for probably about 10 minutes because they have this whole funeral for him in the world of the gods where the seed was supposed to be planted in the first place. And then everyone's like, is there any way to bring him back? And Wizard Shazam is like, no, only a god can bring back another god using the magic staff, but the magic staff is turned off now and we can't turn it back on without a god. And then Wonder Woman randomly appears. I'm not even kidding. Wonder Woman randomly appears. Shazam had a dream earlier in the movie where he was dating Wonder Woman, and then Wizard Shazam's face was on Wonder Woman's body. It was really weird looking, and he was like, Shazam, you have to save the day. But now Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman is actually in the thing, and this is the last time Gal Gadot is ever going to play Wonder Woman, is in the Shazam movie. So if you're a fan of Wonder Woman, maybe I would go see the movie just so you can see Wonder Woman. But basically, she does this really cringy thing where it blasts her theme song for like too long. And then she touches the staff, and because she's a demigod, which isn't even a full god, she's like a god, it turns it back on, and then she points it at the sky and it explodes, and then Shazam comes back out as Shazam, because he died as Billy Batson because he said the word Shazam to overload the battery, so he's Billy Batson, so he's not in his invincible state, which is why he dies. But then he's brought back as Shazam. I don't know why, probably just because the magic staff hit him, I don't know. But then he's back as Shazam, he hugs everybody, he's like, yeah, I'm alive, and then he sees Wonder Woman and is like, hey girl, you want to go out with me? I mean, I turn 18 in a couple of weeks. And then the parents have this joke where they're like, what is it with our children and older women? Because Jack Dylan Grazer's character is in love with a 6,000-year-old teenager, and Zachary Levi's Shazam slash Asher Angel's Shazam, which, by the way, Asher Angel is a really cool name. I don't know if that's his stage name or his legit name, but that's like a really awesome name. But Shazam slash Billy Batson is in love with Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman's like as old as Thor plus, probably, because she's like ancient Greek mythology times. So she's probably at least 2,000, 3,000 years old. Maybe even as old as Rachel Zegler's character, but that wouldn't make sense if she's younger, because Gal Gadot is a grown-up and Rachel Zegler's character is supposed to be like in God years the same age as Jack Dylan Grazer's character. But they have this little flirt off, and then Wonder Woman's like, stay safe, Shazam, and make sure to keep protecting the world. And then she just disappears. So that was another cringy moment, along with the Taste the Rainbow, because actually as the unicorns appear, I forgot to say this, as the unicorns appear and start to beat up the Cyclopses and the Man-Bats and the Raid Shadow Legend characters, Faith Herman's character is riding one of them and says, taste the rainbow, mother, as in to say mother F word. She's 15. She's like 7. She plays a 7-year-old girl, but she's as old as me. It freaks me out. Because I don't think I could get away with playing an 8 or 9-year-old. I don't know. But yeah, that was another cringy moment, was when she was riding the unicorn and was like, taste the rainbow. It was like, I don't want to. And then there was another cringy moment. You know how in Hallmark movies and kind of bad superhero TV shows like CW Flash and all the CW DC TV shows, how they're like, the power is not your superpowers, the power is inside of you. In the very beginning of the movie, when Rachel Zegler and Jack Dylan Grazer's characters meet for the first time, Jack Dylan Grazer's character like stands up to some bullies and gets his butt beat, and then Rachel Zegler's like, the power is inside of you, and then touches his chest right here. She's like, it's right there. And then later, when she loses her superpowers, there's the wooden dragon thing that's basically the Rancor of this universe is staring him down, and one of the dragon's superpowers is it puts an unnecessary amount of fear into you, so you basically are paralyzed with fear. But for some reason, Jack Dylan Grazer's character is immune to Calypso's powers of whispering and is immune to the fear thing, because he's got heart. But he walks up to her and is like, the power is not because you're a god, the power is inside of you, and then touches the chest because she did that to him, and it's like this whole thing. And then they do it a third time for no reason. This movie had so many cringy moments, I literally went in my seat. Now that the staff is back, everybody gets their superpowers again. Wizard Shazam gets a new look and is like, he's looking super fly. And everything is happy. Credits roll, and then there's an end credit scene, which is the exact same end credit scene as in the original first Shazam movie. The same one. I recorded it even though I wasn't supposed to.
57 years old. You're stuck in a concrete box surrounded by lunatics, waiting for a worm to enact some vague plan like they told absolutely nothing about.
It takes me a very long time to open this, okay? I do not have them. There are 4 ways in the mind. I can lather around endless.
God's name.
But I name the gods, Doctor, not the other way around. Our one everything to have together. The 7 realms are about to be ours.
No!
It's the exact same thing. It's the guy 2 years later, he was the bad guy in the first one, why the magic staff got split in 2. But it's the same guy talking to the same caterpillar, but they have the exact same conversation, and then they tease a third one, which is probably never going to happen unless James Gunn decides he wants to do a Shazam project. And then more credits roll, and then the second end credit scene plays, which is this one. Those 2 characters are from the Peacemaker show that came out back in 2022, I'm pretty sure. it was 2022. Yeah, it was 2022? Yeah, 2022. But those are the same characters from the Peacemaker show. They're also in the Suicide Squad movie that James Gunn does. But they go to recruit Shazam because of Waller lady, I don't remember his first name. Amanda Waller. Because Amanda Waller's making a Justice Society. Even though Dr. Fate is dead, Black Adam is canceled, and the entire everything is basically undone unless James Gunn decides to include it in his new universe. So basically both of the end credit scenes are completely useless. But yeah, that's literally the whole movie. I basically just told you guys the entire movie. So you guys don't even have to go see the movie now. My thoughts on the movie, like I said, it's a fun movie to watch. It's very campy. I personally was cringed multiple times in the movie, and the CGI was kind of in some spots. But other than that, I really enjoyed the movie, and like I said, I would rate it a 6.5 or a 7. And here's kind of where I find it interesting, is I don't think it's any better or any worse than the first Shazam movie. I like the first Shazam movie more because it's a lot easier to follow and I wasn't cringed as much at the first one, but the level isn't any different. I would still rate the first one a 6.5 or a 7. I rate the second one a 6.5 or a 7. It's the Shazam stuff. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I basically just spoiled the entire movie. I don't know why I did that. But yeah, thank you for choosing to watch this video. Please like and subscribe if you aren't already. And go ahead and hit that notification bell if you're so kind, so you know when I'm super cool and I make a video. Post a video. So you know. And I actually made a Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania video very similar to this. I think I might have deleted it because I never posted it. But if you guys want to see that, tell me in the comments down below and I can go ahead and post it or remake it, depending on which one. If I still have it, I'll post it. If I no longer have it, I'll remake it. And also, tell your friends to subscribe. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe like extra much. Because if I get to 10,000 subscribers before April 1st, I'm gonna do a live Q&A where you guys can just kind of ask me questions and I'll just answer them. So if you want to ask me a question and want me to answer it live, get me to 10,000 subscribers. But yeah, have an amazing rest of your day or night, depending on when you're watching this. Peace out.